I woke up on a floor that was not mine, with a headache that felt expensive. The mirror in the bathroom showed me a face I had never seen before, sharp jaw, tired eyes, maybe 28 years old. The phone on the sink was an old model, the kind they stopped making a decade ago. The screen said it was Tuesday, October 4th, 2011. A woman walked into the hallway. She looked at me. She did not look worried that I was sleeping on the floor. She looked like she was waiting for me to ask her for money. She picked up her bag, said nothing, and left the apartment. Her name was Tara. I knew this because the mail on the counter said so. The mail also told me the body I was wearing belonged to a man named Elias, and Elias owed a lot of money to people who sent very formal, very threatening letters. I sat on the stool. I was 36 when I went to sleep. Now I was 28 in the past, in a body that had apparently spent the last 5 years destroying everything it touched. I spent the first week piecing together the wreckage. Elias was not a complicated man. He was the kind of husband who gambled the rent money and then shouted until it was somehow Tara's fault. He was a coward who hid behind volume. I sat at the kitchen table while Tara worked double shifts at a clinic, and I went through his bank statements. The numbers were bad, but they did not scare me. I knew what was going to happen in the world. I remembered the market. I remembered the logistics companies that would surge in 2 years. I remembered the cloud storage startup that was currently trading for pennies. I did not need to be a genius. I just needed to not be Elias. I sold his watch. I sold the expensive jacket he had bought while they were behind on electricity. I took the little money that remained and I put it exactly where my memory told me to. When Tara came home, I had cleaned the kitchen. I had made dinner. She did not eat it. She went into the bedroom and locked the door. I told myself the money would fix it. I thought of wealth as an eraser. If I could just make enough, the past would be wiped clean. 6 months passed. The cloud startup doubled, then tripled. I moved the money into real estate right before the neighborhood rezoning that I remembered from the news. We stopped getting threatening letters. I paid off the debt in a single afternoon. I left the receipt on the counter for Tara to find. When she saw it, she did not look relieved. She looked at the paper, then she looked at me, her face completely unreadable. "What did you do?" she asked. I told her I made an investment. I told her we were fine now. I told her she could quit the extra shifts. She didn't quit. She kept working just as hard, leaving before I woke up, coming back after I was asleep. She treated the money like it was radioactive. She treated me like a stranger who had moved into her house. 2 years later, I crossed the $1 million mark. We moved out of the apartment. I bought a house with high ceilings and a garden she didn't have to share with neighbors. I bought her a car that started every time she turned the key. I was doing everything right. I never shouted. I never gambled. I was the perfect, quiet, supportive husband. I was playing a character, and I was playing it flawlessly. But the house was silent. We ate dinner at a long wooden table, and the only sound was the clinking of silverware. I would ask about her day. She would give me a 2-word answer. I would tell her about an account, and she would nod without looking up from her plate. I realized that she was not enjoying the wealth. She was enduring it. I had replaced the chaos of Elias with a suffocating, sterile comfort and expected her to be grateful. I expected the house and the car to buy her forgiveness, which meant I was still treating her like a transaction. The breaking point was a Tuesday. It was her birthday. I had bought a necklace, something delicate and horribly expensive. I put the box on the table after dinner. She did not open it. She just stared at the small black square for a long time. Then she pushed it back across the table toward me. "I don't want this," she said. Her voice was quiet. It wasn't angry. It was exhausted. "I don't want the house. I don't want the car. I don't want you pretending to be someone else." I felt the defensive instinct rise up. I wanted to list everything I had done. I wanted to show her the bank accounts, the paid-off mortgage. I wanted to say, "Look at how much I fixed." But I stopped. I looked at her face. The tension around her eyes wasn't new. It was the same tension she had when I first woke up on that floor. The money hadn't erased anything. It had just built a nicer cage. "You think this is better," she said, looking at the necklace. "You think because you don't yell anymore, because you pay for everything, that you're a good person now. But you still don't see me. You just see a problem you threw money at." I sat there. I did not have a defense. She was entirely correct. I had not been trying to know her. I had been trying to win a game. I wanted to be the hero of this second chance, the man who turned a scumbag's life into a success story. I had used my future knowledge to get rich, and I had used the riches to try and buy a clean conscience. I thought Elias was the scumbag because he was broke and angry. I hadn't realized you could be a scumbag in a tailored suit, in a quiet house, holding an expensive necklace. I'm leaving, she said. She stood up. I'm going to my sister's. She expected me to fight. She expected the mask to slip, for the old Elias to come roaring back and demand gratitude. She stood by the door, bracing herself for the explosion. I looked at her. I saw the tightness in her shoulders, the way her hand gripped the handle of her bag. For the first time in 3 years, I didn't think about what I wanted the outcome to be. I didn't think about the narrative. I just looked at her, and I felt the overwhelming weight of what she had carried. Okay, I said. It was the only word in the room. The tightness in her shoulders didn't leave, but her expression shifted. Just a fraction. Confusion. I stood up, walked to the hallway closet, and got her coat. I handed it to her. I didn't ask her to stay. I didn't promise to be better. I will have the lawyers draft everything tomorrow, I said. Half of everything, no arguments. The lawyers were confused. My accountant was furious. They told me I could fight it, that she had no claim to the investments I had made, that I could protect the assets. I fired the accountant. I signed the papers exactly as I had promised. Half the accounts, the house, the cars. I kept the small apartment we had originally lived in and enough to start over. The day the papers were finalized, we met in a dull conference room. She signed her name. I signed mine. When she looked up at me, the fear was gone. The contempt was gone. She just looked tired but lighter, like a breath being let out. She didn't say thank you, and I didn't expect her to. We walked out of the building and went in opposite directions. I watched her walk away, and for the first time since I woke up in this body, I felt like I belonged in it. I am still a wealthy man. The investments continue to grow, but the money sits quietly now. I don't use it to fix things that can't be fixed with a checkbook. Sometimes people ask me what the secret was, how I knew exactly which companies would rise, how I timed the market so perfectly. I give them vague answers about research and instinct. They think the success is the interesting part of the story. They think the millions are the ending. They don't know that the real victory was not the day the bank account crossed 7 figures. The real victory was the day I sat in an empty room, signed away half my empire, and finally stopped trying to buy something that wasn't for sale. That was the day I actually became rich.